Hello everybody, it's Rick. It is Sunday, May 1st, 2022. If you would like to contact me by email, I don't speak on the phone, I'm sorry, just by email only. My email is rick0327@me.com. If you are dealing with a child support issue for a reasonable gift, I provide paperwork, over 60 affidavits, many court motions, also other affidavits that you can send directly to child support. You can also notify the State Attorney General, Sheriff, whoever. You can address some of these too. Okay. Also the affidavits to the child support agency, you're going to be demanding to see proof of your signature on a contract, proof of a loan, anything with your signature that you agreed to pay a loan, because they're claiming you owe a debt. Okay, so the only way you can owe a debt is by them providing you a loan. Okay, my affidavits are typed affidavits. They're not boilerplate, meaning I didn't take somebody else's work and just added and just copy and pasted and gave it to you. My paperwork was made from me. I made them originally from me. Okay, so in other videos I've pointed out that there are a few people out there reselling my paperwork. Okay, but once you receive my paperwork, you'll see it was worth the gift, because I do not provide you with garbage. Okay, I provide you with well-written paperwork. And then you got to deal with the courts. Okay, they're very crooked. They're a bunch of fraudsters. One of their favorite tactics is they'll claim that they don't understand what you're saying in the paperwork. One guy reached out to me and they used the phrase, it's incomprehensible, meaning they don't understand it. That's a tactic. They do that. That's a nice way of saying they don't understand what you're saying. So if they don't understand what you're saying, they can't respond properly. It's another lawyer trick. Okay, so anyway, what are we doing today? We're going to talk about filing a rebuttal from the beginning, that you are a living, breathing man or woman, and you are not a person or natural persons. Okay, same guy that I was just speaking about, they claimed that their best excuse they could come up with is that he is a natural person because the definition says he is. Okay, so some definition says he's a natural person, so he's a natural person. Okay, a person is not you and I. You and I, we're living, breathing people. Okay, and we were born from our mothers. A person is a trust, a corporation. It's a dead entity. All laws and statutes are created to govern the conduct of persons. And believe it or not, you don't realize it, but you are acting on behalf of your person. Your person is the dead version of you. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to rebut that. So from the very beginning, we're going to say, no, I am not a person. I am a living, breathing man or woman. And therefore, all of your, tricks and stuff do not apply to me. Okay, so let's begin. Alright. As a man or woman, you are one of the people of the several states. And the Supreme Court as adjudicated, the people of the several states are unconditionally sovereign. Okay, the case is this case right here, Ohio Life Insurance and Trust versus DeBolt. It's an 1854 case, okay, and I use it a lot in my paperwork because it says the several states are unconditionally sovereign within their respective states. Now, they know this, so they know that you're unconditionally sovereign, so they redefine you as a private person on the 45 U.S.C. section 659, subsection I-4. The term private persons means a person who does not have sovereign or other special immunity or privilege. So you're a person that has no rights, basically. So all of the rights that you have here as one of the people in the several states, they took it away from you by calling you a private person. So that just goes to show you that you are unconditionally sovereign as one of the people. Okay, we're going to rebut that. All right, we're going to rebut that you're not a private person. We're going to rebut that you're not an obligor. They love calling you an obligor, a person obligated to pay child support. Also, an obligor is also referred to as a non-custodial parent. What they do is they change your title and they reterm you a non-custodial parent. So that's why we're going to keep rebutting. No, I am not an obligor. I'm a man. Okay, I just pointed out you're going to rebut that you're not a private person. You being a living, breathing man and woman is evidence that you are not a person or natural person. That's also another fact. So what you can do is you can request a copy of of your birth certificate. A certificate of live birth is what it's called. And you reach out to the in your county or state, the vital statistics, and it's pretty easy. I've done it, and it's not that expensive. Also, what you can do is you can request like 10 copies of the certificate of live birth. Now, be sure that you request a certificate of live birth. I would actually get on the phone and call them and tell them that you want a certificate of live birth. You don't want another copy of your birth certificate. You want a certified copy of live birth, and that way you could submit that as evidence also to rebut that you're not a person, because it doesn't say anywhere on it that it's a certificate of live person. Okay, so it's proof that you are a living, breathing man or woman. Okay, under 42 U.S.C. section 1301, subsection 3, the term person means an individual, a trust, or a state, a partnership, or a corporation. That's a person. So you're walking around as a person. You're a corporation. You're a trust. You're an estate. You're a dead entity. That's what you are. Okay? See how slick they are? And that's what they did. They changed the definition. They did it in the Constitution in 1871. We have 2 constitutions, by the way. Anyway. So when you, what you're also going to do is you're going to rebut that you do not live within the federal jurisdiction defined under 42 U.S.C. section 1301, subsection A1. Okay, and what that is that it's right here. District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and Guam. That is state. So every time you read a one of these child support statutes, right? Like right here we are. It states the term state It's District of Columbia. So you'll see state everywhere, and really you think it's your state, but it's not your state. It's their state. Their state is the federal jurisdiction is the District of Columbia, Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and Guam. Okay, right here. So there's proof right there that that's their definition. So that's where the jurisdiction of all their child support statutes fall under. Right, so right here, 42 U.S.C. 666, that's where they issue the income withholding under. Well, you do not live in that jurisdiction, so this doesn't apply to you because you live outside of the federal jurisdiction. You live outside of the jurisdiction of 651. So all the child support statutes are under 651 through right here 669B, grants to states access and visitation programs. It's okay. So all the child support, everything that they do is between those sections. Okay, and again, all of those sections apply only in right here, District of Columbia, Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. So if you live outside of the state, as I just told you, all the child support statutes right here, through here between 651 and 669B do not apply because you are outside federal jurisdiction. Sorry, 1 second. So also, with that being, that means that the court or the child support agency, they lack personal jurisdiction over you because you are living outside. And again, I'm using that phrase, living. You're alive. You're a living man or woman. You're living outside of the state, the federal jurisdiction. Okay. All right. So that means that the support order is issued under 42 U.S.C. Section 653. That doesn't apply because you do not live within the state. A support obligation issued under 666 subsection A 1B doesn't apply to you. Why? Because you do not live within the state. Income withholding orders issued under 666 subsection A B 8 doesn't apply to you. Why? Because you do not live within the state. All right, so in the United States of America, there's only one laws that apply to us, and that's the Bill of Rights. Okay, and these laws, they only protect living, breathing men and women, or man or woman. Okay, so you can read this. All right, this is just information for you. Okay, you can freeze the video and read it. Also, it's good to know. You should stay away from using the 14th Amendment if you can, because there's evidence that it was never ratified. The 14th Amendment makes you a slave. They call you a subject. The subject is really a slave. Okay, so all persons are subject slaves. Okay, so you want to stay away from the 14th Amendment. Okay. The United States is a common law country. All right, so that means that there must be a victim. If there's no victim, there's no crime, there's no violation. So with child support, they never provide you a victim. They just come and say you got to pay child support. What happens is the mother, usually the mother, I've gone over this before, but I'll go over it again. She applies for stamps, welfare, and she has to sign paperwork providing as much information about you as possible. That way they can bring you in and then force you to pay child support. And she doesn't have to agree to come and get you necessarily, but she must sign, that she must cooperate with them and provide them with as much information about you as possible. But really all that is that it's a contract between her and the child support agency. That has nothing to do with you. But for some reason, they think that it does, because she's providing her support rights over to them, which there's really no law or definition of what support rights are. So really all they are is they're a debt collector. That's all they are. They're a fancy debt collector using the state resources. All state they use all these state employees, and they're really just contractors being paid with federal money. Okay? So again, you can't have a debt entity cannot cause you harm. So meaning the child support agency, they're a corporation. Any corporation cannot cause you harm, because a corporation, well, only a living thing can cause you physical harm, I should say. Okay? So that's what, and also you have the right to question your accuser. So how are you going to question Mr. or Mrs. State of Alabama, Mr. or Mrs. State of Baltimore? Okay? I mean, excuse me, State of Maryland. There is no State of Baltimore, excuse me. Okay, so that's also a tactic. If you ever get God forbid you ever arrested, and it's a victimless crime. That's where they get the term of victimless crime. You need a victim. A victim must be a living, breathing man or woman. Okay? There is no such thing as the state. You cannot question the state. All right? So, that's what I was saying before. The Supreme Court in matter Lujan versus Defenders of Wildlife, over the years, there must be a victim. So the plaintiff must have suffered an injury in fact, it's called. All right? That's an invasion of a legally protected interest. So your legally protected interest is your rights under the Bill of Rights. Okay? Also, a physical injury. All right? It has to be actual or imminent, the injury. It can't be conjectural or hypothetical. You can't have a hypothetical injury. Well, you took money I couldn't pay my rent or whatever. That doesn't count as a injury. An injury must be a physical injury, basically. Okay? So what I did was I got first, second, and third. There are three phases, basically, for three elements. That's what it is. I must contain three elements. All right, so I highlighted them here. They underlined them. So right away, in child support, where's the victim? There is no victim, okay? Because your children are being taken care of. Even if you're not paying support, okay, in physical money, let's say you're taking your children to school, you've worked out some type of agreement with the mother or the father. Any type of support is support. Taking them to school, buying them clothing, okay, that's support. It doesn't have to have a monetary value. If the children are receiving welfare, they're being taken care of, okay? It's just another money-making scheme for the state, all right? So that's what I put down. So if you are ever accused of a crime and there's no injured man or woman, just remember that a corporation or state government or agency is not a living man or woman and therefore cannot be an injured party. Demand to see and question the victim. This goes for not just child support, anything. God forbid if you're ever accused of a crime. Okay, like Mr. or Mrs. State of New York doesn't exist. All right. Also, I'm sorry, I meant to say it earlier. with the rebuttal. You have to file a rebuttal also, because if you receive one of these letters that you have to participate in the legal process, it's recommended. Some people recommend that you don't. I say you do, because if you don't, by you fighting, you're filing a rebuttal. That means anything they say about you stands as truth if you do not respond. Okay, so the best thing to do is respond with paperwork. Okay, and again, if you reach out to me, for a gift, you can receive all the paperwork you need to properly fight these people. Okay, so that's another reason why you would file a rebuttal. Okay. This is all just information. Alright, so just let you read it. There's also another way you know that you're a person is when they spell your name in all capital letters. Okay, all corporations are spelled in capital letters. Right, this is notifying child support agency by notice of rebuttal that you are a living man and not a person. I went over this earlier. Okay, an affidavit, I told you before, offering a live birth is evidence to prove that you are not a person. Okay. Also, person is defined under 28 U.S.C. That's a section. The United States is defined as a corporation as well under, I went over this before, let me go over it again. I mean, in earlier videos, I apologize. Okay. Where the hell is it? Yeah, this is a 28 U.S.C. 3002 definitions. Okay. Subsection 15, United States means a federal corporation, an agency, commission. Okay, so that just shows you that the United States is a federal corporation. Also, 10, person includes a natural person, corporation, unincorporated associate. This shows you what a person is defined as. It doesn't say anything about a man or a woman. Okay. Also, understand this: all laws and statutes are made to govern the conduct of persons, not men and women. So the laws and statutes do not apply to you if you maintain that you're a man or a woman. The only law that applies to men and women are the Bill of Rights. Okay, and the Constitution governs the conduct of the government. The Bill of Rights governs the conduct of people. Okay, and it protects you because it gives you have the right to freedom of speech. It protects you from the government. They need a warrant under Fourth Amendment. Fifth Amendment provides you with due process. The Sixth and Seventh Amendment provides that you are entitled to a trial. Okay, very important to know this. But the Bill of Rights is a ratified law of this country. It was ratified. When the hell was it ratified? Right here. It was ratified in 1791. Actually, it was December 15th. So that means it's ratified law. It's ratified in all the country, in all the state. There it is, December 15th. Okay. Yeah. Boom, boom, right there. Okay. And then what happened was, in 1871, the United States became a corporation. I just showed you the definition. All right. That was done on the QT. That wasn't ratified. Okay, that was done without our permission, without the people's permission. So we're always going to maintain that anytime, if you're ever going to associate, you're going to talk about the natural United States of America. The natural Constitution is actually the Constitution 1791. Okay, actually it's, how do they term it? 1789, and they do it like that because they started the Bill of Rights of 1789, and then they completed it in 1791. That's with the Constitution. So when they were making the Constitution, the people weren't happy because there was no protection in the Constitution for the people. So they needed the Bill of Rights. Okay, I'm just giving you a really simple explanation. All right, but I've seen people refer to the Constitution this way: the Constitution of the Natural United States, 1789, with a slash 1791. All right. So, moving on. If you remain silent and do not respond with a rebuttal, the claims are recorded as facts. So how many of you out there did not respond to paperwork for child support? And next thing you know, a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 down the road, next thing you know, they're saying that you owe thousands of dollars in arrears. That's because you didn't respond. All right? The best thing to do is to respond. Okay? And then, again, if you got to go to a hearing or deal with the Zoom face-to-face, that's when you hit them with the "I do not accept this offer to contract," right? And "I do not consent to these proceedings," and "I do not answer questions." And then they'll respond, "Well, that's only in criminal matters." No, that's a trick, okay? And then, again, you're gonna the rebuttal is rebutting all of these, all right? And again, I told you this is what I was saying before, all right? So now you could freeze it and read it. A good tactic is to get copies. I tell you, I went and done this myself. That's how I last year I had a summons from some out here, some traffic nonsense, and I just by writing paperwork, I never went to court. I just did it through the mail. I kept fighting them, and they dismissed it. And what I did was I submitted a copy of my certificate of live birth, and again, all the stuff I'm talking about. I'm not a man. I'm a man. I'm not a whatever. I'm not a driver. All that stuff. And I never agreed to contract with this, whatever, the traffic device or some bullshit. And I got the ticket dismissed. Now it wasn't a ticket for points on my license, but still it was money. They wanted money from me, and I wound up winning. So I submitted a copy of my certificate of live birth. I did all the mumbo jumbo, and that's it. And also I did that on my own. I don't even know where it is. I mentioned this a couple of videos ago, and people are asking me for it. I don't have it, guys. I don't get involved in traffic stuff. I'm sorry. Okay, but you could bring a copy of the live birth certificate with you to the hearing and submit it with your paperwork. It's evidence that you're a living, breathing man or woman. Okay. Avoid common court legalese tricks. What do you say if they ask you if you understand? You always respond, no. You don't understand because you do not speak legalese. Okay? I do not speak legal. You only speak man to man, woman to woman, man to woman, woman to man. Okay? That's all you know. When you understand, you are standing under the authority of the court or the child support agency. Okay? Then also another trick they'll say is you say, I do not, you say no, they'll say, well, then you need to get a lawyer. You do not need to get a lawyer. That's another trick. Because if you get a lawyer, once you have a lawyer, the lawyer works for the court, and then you're giving the court jurisdiction. Okay? It's another trick to get you to consent. They got all kinds of tricks. Okay? I do not consent to contract with the court, child support agency, and therefore I do not need a lawyer. A lawyer is evidence that you accept I just told you that, okay? So now you can read it. You do not want to give the court or the child support agency any jurisdiction. This is why you do not need a lawyer. Also, you're going to demand copies of your signature. Did you contract with the child support agency? So again, if you get a piece of paper in the mail saying that you owe $50,000 because they claim, there's another trick they do. Let's say the mother, it's usually the mother. Let's say it's the mother or the husband or the father, and they wait 10 years to get they'll say, well, they'll say, well, how old's the child? The child's 15 years old. They'll backdate the child support going back to the date of birth and say you owe 15 years of child support, which is outrageous. Okay, it should only be from the moment they contract with them, but that's how greedy and sick these animals are. That's how vindictive and vicious they are. Okay, it should only be from the date that they apply for services. Okay, so that's another trick. But again, the child support is a service. Where is your signature, your autograph on a contract? So you're going to demand to see a copy of that. Okay? Okay, so when they fail to respond, then you have evidence that proves you did not contract with them. Their silence is evidence that they don't have it. All right, and you can file a default judgment. Okay, this is what a notice of rebuttal might look like. Okay, that's what it might look like. All right, and again, here you go. So hopefully you guys got through my mumbo jumbo. Hopefully I explained to you guys why you must file a rebuttal. Filing a rebuttal is in support of your dismissal. Okay? We'll just read it anyway. Right? Notice of rebuttal in support of dismissal with prejudice. The claimed defendant is a living man with blood flowing through his body. And if you're a woman, it's her body. The claimed defendant is not a person or natural person, defined under 42 U.S.C. Section 1303A3. The claimed defendant does not live within the state, defined under 42 U.S.C. and we went over that. Okay, so this is, again, it's very important that you file a rebuttal. Okay. All right, guys. So hopefully you got through my mumbo jumbo, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.